Welcome to the Mount Pleasant Podcast, featuring discussions and interviews about the people, places, and events that make Mount Pleasant such a special place.
This is the Mount Pleasant Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Cleary, and all thanks to the great people of Mount Pleasant Magazine, I get the honor, the privilege of introducing you to Mount Pleasant, the people who make it such a special place to do business, to work, and even to live. We're introducing you to Mount Pleasant's best on the Mount Pleasant Podcast. The town of Mount Pleasant is a fabulous place to live. There's no doubt about it. And every time we put out a new episode of the Mount Pleasant Podcast, or anytime you're able to pick up a new edition of Mount Pleasant Magazine, in the magazine, the pages make the town of Mount Pleasant come alive. We try to share all of the great things that are happening in this town. Well, something is happening for the town, perhaps, and it's what we'll discuss today on the Mount Pleasant Podcast. I'm Brian Cleary, and joining me today, first of all, we welcome Eric LaFontaine, the communications manager with the town of Mount Pleasant. Eric, communications director means what? What exactly is it that you do?
So part of that is being the public information officer for the town, making sure that we're getting all the stories out that we need to, getting the good news out there, and telling the story of the town. It's also kind of the more creative hat. So I get to do some of the social media aspects of it, the video production, photography, AV kind of stuff. But yeah, mostly just telling the story of the town.
So anytime I'm on the Town of Mount Pleasant Facebook page and there's a funny meme, that's you.
That's me. Well, that's Excellent. My team. It's not necessarily me, but it's someone on my team. Always a team effort. And Christiane Farrell joins us as well. Christiane is the deputy town administrator. So same question to you. Explain to people what your role is in terms of the town of Mount Pleasant.
So my job is to kind of assist with the day-to-day operations in the town. I work and report directly to the town administrator and assist him, but then also oversee a lot of individual offices in the town that maybe don't fit quite right into a department. So I oversee actually communications. I oversee human resources, economic development, emergency management, risk management, and then also the planning department. I've been here a long time. I used to be the planning director, and then moved over into this role in administration. So kind of expanded my responsibilities when I took on this current position.
Do you want to quantify when you say, I've been here a long time, or are we just going long time?
I'll tell you, I started in 1999. So I've been here for 24 years. Yep. Long time.
And one of the reasons we have you both on today is we're celebrating the fact that only 20 cities and towns across the United States have gotten the honor, but the town of Mount Pleasant has been honored this year with a nomination for the All-American City Awards. And Eric, for people who live in the town, obviously it's a great honor to be able to be nominated and win that, but what is it that the city would benefit from, and how does that affect us positively if the town of Mount Pleasant is named an All-American City?
Yeah, well, it's a big feather in our cap, first of all. It really kind of affirms that we've been doing things right, that we're kind of leading the way for other municipalities, kind of giving inspiration to some municipalities for some great projects that we're doing in the town. But a lot of the community members, it kind of shows that we've all come together and created something great.
And one of the cool things about this, Christiane, and you've been around for the other times, there's been two other times that the town of Mount Pleasant has not only been nominated, but has been awarded an All-American City honor.
That's correct. Yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to ask, when were those?
First time we went was in 2010. That was my first experience. Well, it was all of us with the town. That was our first experience. Was pretty incredible. Didn't know what to expect at all going into it, and then came out a winner with it. So we decided we'd try again in 2018, and took a fantastic delegation. Had great stories to share about the things that we've done in our community. Came out a winner again. And so this year, here we go again. We're going for number 3. for 2023.
Podcasting has exploded in popularity, especially local podcasts. As of 2022, 62% of Americans have listened to a podcast. 38% have listened in the last month. 26% in the last week. The podcasting audience is booming with no signs of slowing down. Call the podcast hotline to be featured on these podcasts or to receive information about podcast marketing. Call 843-530-0403 or visit carolinapodcasts.com.
You're listening to the Mount Pleasant Podcast.
On Mount Pleasant, looking for the three-peat as far as the All-American City Honors goes. It's what we're talking about today on the Mount Pleasant Podcast. This is where the pages of Mount Pleasant Magazine come alive. We're talking about all the great things happening in the town of Mount Pleasant. And this episode, we get to talk about Mount Pleasant itself and how we're being recognized nationwide. Eric, I look at the cities 20 nominated on the list, and they're all varying sizes from, New York City to some towns, that are smaller in size. San Antonio's on the list, and Mount Pleasant, one of those 20. How is it that the town of Mount Pleasant got nominated for this honor?
Yeah, we're definitely swimming in a pond of both big fish and little fish. We're probably somewhere in the middle. But we got nominated from the great things that our community does. So the application itself is kind of a three-part system. And each of our scenarios or each of our topics that we want to present really are driven by the community. It's a collaboration of both town officials and community members, but really coming together and doing some pretty unique things that other municipalities may not have yet, but can be an inspiration to start that for other municipalities.
So, Christiane, talk about the past experiences, because this will be your third time involved with it. So back in 2010, I guess, did you go out to Denver? Is that how that works? What's this presentation that you have to make like?
Yeah, that year, for some reason, we were in Kansas City, but it switched to Denver now. But yeah, it's the same sort of a thing. The primary or the main focus of the time that you are in Denver, in this case, is to give the presentation in front of a panel of judges, and you share your story that you've outlined within your application. That's kind of what you're building up to the whole time. That's what the judges are judging you on. It is super fast. It's a 10-minute presentation. That's all you get. And you got to pack a lot of stuff into 10 minutes telling all your stories. But aside from that, the weekend as a whole is incredible. Cities from around the country, as Eric was already explaining, all, small cities, large cities, people that you maybe never would have met before, they're all there to share their good stories. And their collaboration and things that their community are doing. So you get the opportunity to hear that. There are several events where all of the cities are combined together in one room, and the energy is unbelievable. If you kind of get to share parts of your culture, which we're planning to do, and I hope you'll ask us about it because we can share what we're doing there. But get to see some other aspects from other cultures. It's a fantastic weekend leading up till the end, which the award ceremony is at the end, which is incredibly nerve-wracking because you have to sit there and wait, because only 10 get it. 10 of the 20 get it. So last time in 2018, we were super lucky because they announced us first. So we were like, we're done. we can totally sit back and relax now. But it's a fantastic experience, and the people you meet are just incredible.
So you'll go out there, make the presentation, and then be there for the entire weekend. And before you leave, you will know whether Mount Pleasant has been honored as an All-American City.
That's correct.
Well, you kind of teased it, so let's just get right to it. Both of you want to jump in terms of the presentation. Give me some of the highlights that you're going to showcase in terms of Mount Pleasant to the rest of the country.
Okay, well, I can kind of start with it. There's two things that we're going to be presenting that I think we'd like to share. The main thing is the primary presentation in front of the judges, and that's where we're telling our community stories. The other thing that we signed up for, the town of Mount Pleasant signed up for, is the cultural showcase. Only 6 communities get to do that. It's first come, first serve. Since I've been there, I know about it, and I was like, we're signing up because we want to share. So to explain that one very quickly, that's also just a 10-minute presentation, but it's very fun. You are not judged on it. But I think it's a great opportunity to show people across the country things that are unique to your community. So we will be featuring our Gullah culture. So we are having a sweetgrass basket maker coming with us. We are going to be working with some folks who can sing some songs that are very traditional, and hope to get some songs. We're still brainstorming on it, but some songs that will engage the audience. And allow some audience participation. So that's just a fun activity that only 5 other communities will be participating in. The main presentation is the one in front of the judges. And the theme this year is actually youth engagement. What are communities doing across the country to engage our young people in like the civic culture and all. And so that is our focus. So Eric, if you want to start, you want to describe one of the projects? We got 3 projects that we want to share. So if you want to pick one of them and share. Sure.
So one of them that's pretty unique to us, or our story we believe is going to be unique for this competition, is Just Be. It's a program that was started by Layla Luna, a community member, to bring diversity and equity inclusion into Mount Pleasant businesses. So working both with the town and with the Chamber of Commerce, she's put together a program to not only spread the word about kind of being more sensitive to sensory sensitive individuals, but also getting businesses involved. And part of her story started actually in a pizza shop. So she took her son, who has autism and is nonverbal, to a pizza shop when he was a little bit younger, and he was overloaded with some sensory issues. And because of that, the restaurant goers and even the restaurant ended up kicking her out, thinking that her child was just being a brat or couldn't be in public. And so she felt the need to bring about some change. And so teaching businesses in town and giving a platform to the kind of voiceless is a passion of hers. And so that's one of the stories that we really want to focus on while we're there. It's something unique to the town that can really spread and grow with some national attention on it.
And if I could add on to that, where one of the things that the National Civic League, that's what the All America Award is given through, National Civic League looks for collaboration. So, Eric's speaking about Just Be and Layla Luna. Well, where our collaboration came together is she started working with the Mount Pleasant Chamber of Commerce to kind of like, how can we get the word out with the businesses? That kind of led to like, hey, let's have a panel and let's really talk about that. They ended up bringing in Debbie Antonelli, who's is a big advocate for people with special needs, her own son having Down syndrome. And so that kind of started to grow. And then with all of that, we have brought in the Don and Joanne Migliori, who own Mig's Pizza, who are big advocates. They opened their restaurant, Mig's Pizza, specifically because they have a family member with Down syndrome and she needed employment. And so it was a place for her to work. And so now they promote that employment. So that's our bigger story there of the collaboration that you can see with the Mount Pleasant Chamber, the town of Mount Pleasant, these advocacy groups and people such as Layla and Debbie, and then the great business that the Miglioris are doing. We recognize in our application Nothing But Cakes. They're also a big advocate. And so we're trying to bring all of those people in together. So that's I think, our best story because it is a different type of DEI. It is a group that's often overlooked in the DEI conversations that are kind of around the world now. And so that's, I think, where we're one of the stories that we're most excited to share.
The town of Mount Pleasant is going for a three-peat, nominated once again to become an All-American city, and it's our subject today here on the Mount Pleasant podcast. This is where the pages of Mount Pleasant magazine come alive. We're joined by Eric LaFontaine, who is the communications manager for the town of Mount Pleasant. Also, Christiane Farrell, who is the deputy town administrator. Now, Christiane, you've been out to the presentation before. Seems like you'll be going this year. Who will be joining you on the team that'll actually travel to Denver, Colorado?
We have a really good team. We're making sure that everybody who is represented in the three different stories that we're sharing, that we've got, they're coming along on the trip. So as explained, we're focusing a great deal on what our business community is doing to try to be more inclusive for people with neurodiversity or intellectual disabilities. So we are bringing with us advocates such as Layla Luna, Debbie Antonelli. We are bringing the Migliori family who own Mixed Pizza. We are also bringing with us the former president, Michael Cochran, of the Mount Pleasant Chamber of Commerce. In addition to that, one of our other stories that we are sharing is about Wake Up Carolina. So Nancy Shipman, I'm sure most people are kind of familiar with Nancy's story. Nancy's coming with us to share her story and what Wake Up Carolina has done. So we'll also be bringing some members of her family, because obviously what happened with her son Creighton affected the whole family, and they've all been part of the success of Wake Up Carolina. And then we are bringing several people from our police department. That is another one of our stories, focusing on the youth programs that we have that have been successful. So we've got several members of our team from Mount Pleasant PD. Our mayor will be there, of course, as well as a couple of other elected officials. And then we are bringing some kids along, because youth engagement is the story. So we've got several different kids that are coming with us, some of them with some intellectual disabilities. Will be participating. And then the cultural showcase that we spoke of earlier. We will also have some folks there who will be able to really represent the town and its Gullah culture.
So, Eric, it sounds like somebody's got to stay behind and do all the work. So I'm thinking that you'll be here in Mount Pleasant. As I look at the list, I mentioned New York City is one of those cities, San Antonio, Dallas, Texas. Closest to us, I think it's Charlotte and Fayetteville, North Carolina, a town in Georgia. Is there, as you look at that list, one, I think it's got to make you guys feel great that, hey, Mount Pleasant is in the mix with those other cities and towns across the nation. Anybody that you're looking at and go, we want to beat these guys?
Well, I'd say the whole competition we'd love to beat, but there's 10 that win, and I know that we're going to be up against some really great cities. I'm actually going to be going with, so part of telling the story on a national level is also going to be telling that story here at home. So we want to make sure that we're capturing all of that. And from a communications perspective, being able to tell the town that story while it's happening is going to be pretty special, I think.
So we'll be wanting to monitor all the town of Mount Pleasant social media channels that weekend. And for somebody who's listening and watching the Mount Pleasant podcast, they live in Mount Pleasant. Is there anything that you would be looking for them to do? Is there anything that they can be doing to assist in terms of us perhaps getting the All-American City honor?
Yeah. I mean, look for information going forward. It's going to be on all of our social channels. We're going to keep everyone up to date on our progress, on how we're getting there, and then hopefully letting everyone know about the win. But we'd love the whole town to be rooting us on, because this is a collective effort really from the whole town. It's a pretty big deal, and it's also indicative of our community as a whole.
Now, Christiane, having been there twice, I guess you'll be a little bit more relaxed, but it seems like this is just going to be a whirlwind weekend, bam, 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 and then all of a sudden it'll be that time to find out whether or not we've won.
Yeah, I don't know that I'll be any more relaxed. I still get really anxious about it. It's, it can be a little bit nerve-wracking. We are actually one of the last cities to do our presentation in front of the judges. So we have to kind of just sit there and wait. We don't actually present until Sunday morning. So we have to make it through the whole weekend. But then once we present, we've just got, kind of a few hours in between before we go to the awards ceremony. But it is a whirlwind. They keep you busy with all kinds of ways to interact with the other communities. We will have the opportunity to go and watch the other cities do their presentations. which was really fun last time. Actually, last time there were 2 other cities from South Carolina. So we definitely went and we cheered on our other South Carolina people. This time we're solo, nobody else from South Carolina. So, which is good, kind of, hoping that makes us, increases our odds or something. But yeah, it's a busy weekend.
In terms of you being there before, has Mount Pleasant presented early and then you've had to wait? And was that more difficult, or is the waiting the hardest part? You're going to make the presentation Sunday morning and then Sunday evening you'll know? Does it really matter either way?
Probably not. I guess if nothing else, whether this is a good thing or a bad thing, it depends on the type of person you are. It definitely gives us more time to practice ahead of time. So we will be practicing our presentation here at Town Hall a couple of times, but I've already reserved a room for us in Denver 2 times. We will go practice over, and they're going to be sick of it. All the members of the delegation are probably like, I am so tired of doing this. So it will be a relief to be finished Sunday morning. And hopefully, you can kind of read the judges. We walked away in 2018 feeling really good. We had a really good story to tell, just like we do this time. But it's still nerve-wracking as you sit there and they start calling out the names at the awards ceremony.
So you did 2010. That was the first time. 2018, you had the experience of 2010. As you look at what you're doing now, I have to think you're pretty confident that, like you just said, hey, we had a great presentation in 2018. This year's is better?
I think so. I am very excited about the things that we have done in our community that we were able to share. I think we've got some powerful stories. The Wake Up Carolina story is a very powerful story, and all of the great things that Nancy has done to try to address the opioid issues with young people in our community is just, it's powerful. The story with the intellectual disabilities it maybe started off, I think, with Layla Luna and Just Be is she was so frustrated with the inability for her son to be able to, and her family to be able to participate, but we're heading in a positive direction. So that's a positive story. Just like Nancy's story is a positive story too. It is a hard issue, but she, along with our police department, along with the rest of our community, are trying to head in a direction to provide help. And so in the end, it's hopefully can have some positive outcomes for people.
You and I, all 3 of us, we know that Mount Pleasant is an amazing place. No pressure now, but you've got 10 minutes to showcase the town of Mount Pleasant to the rest of the country. We've got confidence in both of you, though, so we know that you're going to do a great job. Good luck out in Denver. Eric LaFontaine is the communications director for the town of Mount Pleasant, and our town's deputy town administrator, Christiane Farrell. Christiane, Eric, good luck. I get it, break a leg. I don't want to say anything like that. So it's just good luck for the town of Mount Pleasant, but you feel good about it, right?
We do.
Yeah.
We're going to bring home a 3rd.
There we go. It's the 3-peat for the town of Mount Pleasant, and we look forward to hearing that great news coming from Denver, Colorado. And we thank you for joining us. We know we live in a great place. We're happy that we get the opportunity to share that with you through the pages of Mount Pleasant Magazine, and here with me, Brian Cleary, on the Mount Pleasant Podcast. Good luck to the town of Mount Pleasant. 3rd time's the charm for the All-American City Awards.
Thanks, Brian.
Okay,
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for spending your time with the Mount Pleasant Podcast, your community, your podcast. Listen to past and future episodes at mountpleasantpodcast.com.